How could a man who drowned and died appear in a TikTok video 2 months after his death? There's a case, a strange one whose ending will leave you shocked. Because believe me, you won't see it coming. Hi, I'm Mademoiselle Noir, and this channel is all about true crime and mysteries. And remember, every story, even if you've heard it before, is never the same when you hear it from me. Let's talk about Ryan Borgwardt. He was born on August 11th, 1980. Not much is known about his childhood, where he studied, or what kind of boy he was. But honestly, that doesn't really matter for this story. What matters is what happened when he turned 23. That's when he met the love of his life, Emily. They fell for each other quickly, and before long, they were married. Ryan owned a small company. He built custom wooden furniture. You'd show him a photo or describe something from your imagination, and he'd make it come true. It was a good business, brought in decent money. Emily was a teacher, passionate about her job, loved her students. Together, they built a peaceful life, had 3 children. And in 2024, just last year, they celebrated 22 years of marriage. Their kids, teenagers now, almost grown. August 11th, 2024. A Sunday. Like every Sunday, Ryan, Emily, and the kids went to church. Later that evening, Ryan planned to go fishing. One of his favorite hobbies. He loved being out there alone, on his kayak. Sometimes even at night, under the stars. His favorite spot? A lake called Green Lakes. Quiet, calm, familiar. So when he told Emily he was heading out, she didn't worry. He'd done it many times before. After dinner, he got ready, loaded his kayak on the trailer behind his truck, and left home around 10:45 p.m. Just before heading onto the water, he texted Emily, "I've arrived at the lake." A little later, around 11 p.m., another message came through. "I'm in the middle of the lake now, on my kayak. Gonna finish up and drive back home soon." Emily texted back, "Okay, see you later." Then she went to bed, nothing unusual. But by 5 a.m., something felt wrong. Emily woke up, and the bed beside her was empty. Ryan hadn't come home. She called his phone. No answer. Called again. Still nothing. The phone was off. That's when she panicked. At 5:32 a.m., Emily called the police. She told them her husband had gone to the lake last night and never came home. She even mentioned the last message. He said he was on his way. So, something must have happened. Within half an hour, police units arrived at Green Lakes. They started scanning the area. And there it was, in the parking lot. Ryan's truck. Just like Emily described. Attached to the back, a trailer, the one he used to carry his kayak. The moment officers saw it, they knew something was wrong. That lake, Green Lakes, was known for being murky. The water dark, cloudy, nothing visible beneath the surface. It didn't look good. Police feared the worst. Ryan might have drowned. Divers were called in. Boats began sweeping the area. Then, not long after, they spotted something floating. A kayak. Ryan's kayak, overturned in the middle of the lake. Hope still lingered. Maybe he'd fallen in and was clinging somewhere nearby. Every minute counted. To speed things up, authorities contacted a volunteer rescue organization, Bruce's Legacy. It's a non-profit founded by Keith Cormack, a man who dedicated his entire life to recovering drowning victims. His brother, Bruce, had drowned back in 1995, and Keith started the foundation in his memory. Since then, he's worked tirelessly, helping families find closure. His group is funded purely by donations, allowing him to use highly advanced underwater technology. Police often call him for difficult searches like this one. Keith arrived at Green Lakes with his best sonar equipment, a machine that scans the entire lake bed and shows, on a small screen, any shapes, even bodies, below the surface. He focused on the exact area where the kayak had flipped, because if Ryan went under there, he couldn't have drifted far. Divers and drones joined in, scanning, circling, searching. Hours passed, and yet, nothing. Not a single sign of Ryan. Around 6:30 in the morning, two fishermen were casting their nets in the middle of Green Lakes. As they pulled them back in, something strange got tangled inside. A fishing rod. They had already seen police at the lake searching for a missing man named Ryan, so they immediately approached the officers. They showed them what they'd found. And yes, that was Ryan's fishing rod. A few hours later, around 1:30 p.m., they found his fishing gear box floating near the reeds. Inside, everything. His phone, his wallet, his car keys, his house keys. Every single important item he owned, all neatly packed inside that box. It was clear. Ryan had capsized with his kayak and drowned. But the question was, where was his body? Why hadn't it surfaced? Why hadn't the currents carried it ashore? Dozens of people were searching for him. Dogs, divers, drones, even the team from Bruce's Legacy. Working day and night. 54 days, 54 days. And nothing. Every day, divers went down into that murky, green lake, where the water was so thick and dark, you couldn't see more than a few inches ahead. They suffered. They froze. They got exhausted. But no one stopped, because all that mattered was bringing Ryan home. Emily and the children were living in agony. 54 days of waiting for a call that never came. Keith Cormack, the founder of Bruce's Legacy, even spent $10,000 of his own money to bring in new high-tech equipment, still determined to find Ryan. But after nearly 2 months, still nothing. Keith had found dozens of people in his career, some alive, some not, but never once had he failed. Not until this case. He started doubting himself. How could he not find Ryan? For 23 years, he had never missed a single recovery. Police trusted him. Families thanked him. And yet, here he was, spending hours and hours scanning the depths of the lake, his sonar device diving, recording every shadow, then replaying those scans, second by second. Eyes fixed on the screen. Afraid to blink, afraid to miss anything. It was torture. But still, he refused to give up. Even so, nothing. No trace. No remains. Not a single sign that Ryan was in that lake. That's when people started whispering. Was Ryan really in the water, or had he disappeared? The case exploded across Green Lakes. Everyone was talking about it. The man who vanished into the lake. News outlets, talk shows, online forums, all covering the same mystery. The kayak was found. The rod was found. But the man was gone. Then, a few weeks later, something unexpected happened. A young woman on TikTok, known for her series of free advice, would stand in public holding a cardboard sign reading of free advice. People would stop, talk to her, and she'd record their conversation and post it, with their consent, online. One day, she uploaded a new video. A man approached her, asking for advice, and the internet went crazy. Thousands of comments flooded in. That's Ryan. He looks exactly like the guy who disappeared at Green Lakes. What if he's still alive? Let me show you the video.
Need advice on anything?
I go to Uzbekistan or stay here?
Say that one more time.
Do I go to Uzbekistan or stay here?
Do you have family there?
No.
Why do you want to go?
Meet a woman?
To meet a woman. And it was
Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan. You don't like American women?
Oh, they're familiar.
So you've given up on meeting someone here?
No, I'm married.
Oh,
Yeah.
but you want to find someone else?
Empty nest. I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking you.
Wait, empty nest? What do you mean?
Empty nest. My kids are out of the house now.
So you want to find, adopt a child?
No. I want to find a companion that I'm content with.
I think that requires you to divorce someone first.
Well, maybe.
Or is she okay with that?
That's a good question. Remains to be seen.
Have you guys had a conversation about that?
Mm-hmm.
So, would it be like a throuple or something?
No.
Okay. Oh, you guys would get a divorce, possibly.
Possibly, yeah.
Do you just feel like there's no love left between you guys?
Diminished.
Finished? Well, I think you guys should definitely have that discussion and see where things are going between you two before you leave the country.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you guys should sort out where your marriage is right now. I think that's the first thing to do.
Well,
And I think you'll feel less lost and like things are up in the air.
yeah. 6 months later.
Yeah, you guys should sort that out.
That's the advice?
Yes, you need to figure out where
And if that's
what's
not
going on.
possible,
Why is it not possible?
indecision.
I feel like indecision is a decision in itself. Because if you're even questioning. Yeah. What was your name?
Wow.
Twa? Bailey, nice to meet you. Yeah, talk to your wife, sort it out.
Fair
I
enough.
think you guys need to be on the same page with what's happening.
What's a yes or no?
About going to another country? The answer depends on where your marriage stands,
It should.
sir. Yes, it should. So sort out your marriage and then
Alright, well,
get back to me on that.
maybe I'll find myself on the internet and I can figure it out from there.
All right.
You two have
Have a
great
good
day.
bike ride.
Yes.
In the clip, the man nervously tells her that he's thinking of leaving his wife to move with another woman, to Uzbekistan. The resemblance was uncanny. The same beard, same eyes, same gestures. The video went viral, millions of views, countless shares, endless debate. And soon, it reached the police. They saw the comments, watched the video, and admitted the resemblance was remarkable. But logic said otherwise. Ryan's kayak was found. His fishing gear, his belongings, all recovered from the lake. Everything pointed to drowning. Still, the public pressure was huge. The theory that Ryan might have faked his death was now everywhere. So investigators decided to check something new. They entered Ryan Borgwardt's name into every federal and international database. Flights, hospitals, arrests, border crossings. And then a match appeared. His passport had been used at the Canadian border. Someone had crossed from the US into Canada using his name. That discovery flipped the entire case upside down. Now, police weren't looking for a body. They were looking for a living man. A man who might have staged his own death. Their first move was to go back to Emily. They asked, "Do you still have his computer?" She said yes. Ryan had left it at home. When they opened it, shock. Almost everything had been wiped clean. But one hidden file remained, a file he'd forgotten to delete. Inside was everything Ryan had done in the days before his supposed fishing trip. He had applied for a replacement passport, claiming his old one was lost. But the original passport was right there, at home, in perfect condition. Meaning, Ryan now had 2 passports. He deleted his entire Google history. Everything. Then, he sent all the files that were on his computer directly to his phone, just so he could wipe the laptop completely clean. And right after that, Ryan contacted his bank, asking them to transfer all his money to another bank account outside of the United States. He even told them not to share this information with anyone. Not a soul. And then, he took out a life insurance policy worth $375,000, which his wife Emily would receive if something happened to him. Next, he bought what's called a flight gift card. It's like a prepaid airline voucher. You buy it, and when you get to the airport, you can use it to choose any ticket you want. No one can trace where you're actually going. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan didn't die. Ryan planned this whole thing. Now, you might be wondering, why? Why would a man with a stable life, a loving wife, and 3 grown kids throw everything away? All of this was for a woman. A woman he met online, someone he had never seen in real life. She was from Uzbekistan. Yes, Uzbekistan. Exactly like that viral TikTok story, the one where a man wanted to leave his wife to be with a woman from Uzbekistan. Same story, same country, same madness. People actually thought Ryan was that TikTok guy. But when authorities confirmed the man's identity, it turned out to be pure coincidence. That viral man had nothing to do with Ryan at all. So now, the question was, where is Ryan? And how on earth were they going to find him? Inside that hidden computer file I told you about earlier, investigators found a photo. A photo of that same woman from Uzbekistan, along with her personal information, everything Ryan had used to contact her. So the police reached out to her. And guess what? She confirmed it. Yes, she was with Ryan. You can only imagine the pain of his wife and kids when they heard that. Their father hadn't died. He had left them, not for money, not for safety, but for another woman, one he had never even met before that. That's what truly broke them. Not his death, but the betrayal. Because he was ready to let them live their entire lives believing he had drowned in that lake, while he was, in fact, starting a new life somewhere else. He had been planning this for months, 8 months, to be exact. That life insurance policy? Maybe, in his mind, that insurance money, those $375,000, were a way to ease his guilt. Maybe he thought, at least if they think I'm dead, they'll have money. But look how foolish he was. He could have made that policy worth millions, 2 million, 3 million, if he wanted. After all, he knew he wasn't really going to die, so he wouldn't have to keep paying the premiums. But no, he only made it $375,000. A cheap way to buy forgiveness. The police were furious. They'd wasted so much time, so many resources. For 2 months, divers and search teams worked day and night in that freezing lake, believing they were searching for a body. They were exhausted, physically, emotionally. Even Chris Legas, the search leader, lost over $10,000 from his own pocket buying extra equipment. He worked night and day, desperate to find Ryan. And for what? For a man who had faked his own death. In total, the search operation cost around $40,000. The wages, the materials, everything. When reporters asked Chris if he'd demand reimbursement, he said no. He didn't want to add more pressure on Ryan's family. They'd already suffered enough, but he admitted he was angry. Now, here's something I learned through this case. Did you know that faking your own death isn't actually illegal in the United States? Yes, it's true. If you get caught, you can't be arrested just for that. But, and it's a big but, Ryan did commit several crimes in the process. He obstructed the police for 2 full months. He deliberately misled law enforcement. He committed insurance fraud by trying to collect life insurance money under false pretenses. After that, his trail went cold. Because the authorities believe he's in Uzbekistan. And because Uzbekistan has no extradition treaty with the US. If he's there, he can stay there forever. Investigators kept trying to reach the woman, to get her to talk again. And finally, she answered the call. They asked her to let them speak directly or to Ryan. Then they demanded a video in which he speaks, confirms who he is. And imagine this, he sent it. Watch closely.
Good evening, it's Ryan Borgwardt. Hello, Matt. Today is November 11th. It's approximately 10 a.m. by you guys. I'm in my apartment. I am safe, secure, no problem. Hope this works.
In that video, does he look happy? No, he doesn't. He appears irritable, tense, dissatisfied. He's not proud of what he's done. The strangest part is this video, this interaction, and the fact that it was sent to the police. Why send it to the police? But I believe, once he reached that woman, he changed. He got bored. He planned to return home, fix things. But when he saw his wife was already gone, the divorce filings had been made December 10th, he knew the marriage was over. So he returned to the US. Naturally, police located him. They arrested him. He was brought in and revealed the plan he'd spent days preparing. Ryan bought an e-bike, one of those electric bikes you can charge, the kind that comes with a removable battery. Naturally, he hid it carefully so that no one would ever see it. He didn't hide it at home. No, he stored it in the woodworking garage where he worked. On the day of the plan, he went straight to that garage. He avoided the cameras, making sure not to appear on video opening the garage or pulling the e-bike out and loading it into the trailer. Then he left, got into his kayak, and brought with him a small children's floaty, tiny, just enough to help him float. He paddled toward the middle of the lake, cast his fishing rod into the water, and then tossed in a small box. Inside that box were his driver's license, car keys, wallet, and everything that could make it look like he was drowned. Then he climbed out of the kayak and flipped the kayak over completely to make it seem like an accident. Holding onto that little floaty, he swam and swam until he reached the other side of the lake. Then he got on his e-bike and rode it, 114 kilometers. Imagine that. And when its battery died, he simply threw the e-bike away, left it behind like nothing happened. He then took a bus, then another bus, to the airport. And from there, he boarded a plane. And would you believe it? He had with him only $5,000 in cash. He thought, and my plan worked. They'll search a little, then they'll believe the trick. He imagined them saying, he drowned, poor guy, even that they'd just move on, turn the page. He never expected that the search for him would last 2 full months. He had chosen that particular lake for a reason. It was deep and filthy, the kind of place that made recovery almost impossible. The court sentenced him to a $10,000 fine and 9 months in prison. His wife said their relationship was over, forever. She asked for full custody of the kids, because not one of them wanted to see him again. Not one wanted to hear his name, because he had caused them a lifetime of trauma. And all of that because of a woman he had never even met in real life. A woman he only knew online. Now tell me, I want to read your comments on today's case. Tell me what you think. What do you think about this woman who made this man sacrifice everything for her? Do you think his plan worked? Would there have been a day when he'd just show up and say, hello, I'm alive. I was only joking. Imagine if he'd done all of that, and in the end, she had just ghosted him. Or worse, she'd been a catfish, not even a real person. I'll see you here in the next video.